Welcome back to Inside City Hall. Earlier this summer, Mayor Bloomberg said he is open to implementing a ban on smoking at parks and beaches. Should the government have the power to further regulate and restrict public smoking? And what rights do non-smokers have? Here to debate that issue are David Schwartz, a lawyer and lobbyist for tobacco retailers, and Michael Seilback, from the American Lung Association. Thank you for joining us. So,
Thank you.
This issue first was raised about a year ago by the city's health commissioner, Mayor Bloomberg, back in June, said he was open to the idea. I want to just start by saying why, I'll start with you, Michael, why you support the idea.
It's a common sense public health proposal that's going to protect lives, and it's also going to help clean up our parks and beaches. The fact is that cigarettes are one of the most polluting aspects of our parks and beaches. But more importantly, secondhand smoke is dangerous. It could send people to the hospital for asthma attacks and things like that. So this is something that makes sense, it's common sense, and it should go ahead.
David.
Mike, there's no common sense at all behind this proposal. It's so nonsensical, it's not even funny. There's no scientific study around that shows that if you smoke in a park, that someone else is going to be affected by that cigarette smoke. The pollution concept is ridiculous. So you might as well just ban all soda cans also from the beach and all food from the beach. Absolutely ridiculous, an infringement on the rights of smokers. This is an all-out war, and all we're seeing by every proposal that the American Lung Association starts and all these associations, special interest groups, is destroying business in the state of New York. We've lost thousands of supermarkets and small retail outlets in this state because of proposal after proposal after proposal. It's got to stop.
A number of different points there raised, Michael. Let's start with the point about secondhand smoke. My understanding from reading through some documents provided by the city's health department that there is no safe secondhand smoke exposure.
That's exactly right. The U.S. Surgeon General has declared that there's no safe level of exposure to secondhand smoke. And you say that the science isn't there. You can't tell that to the parents of children, the 340,000 kids in New York who have asthma, that simply walking through a cloud of tobacco smoke is enough to set off an asthma attack and send them to the hospital.
Well, get rid of all the cars. Get rid of everything else that's polluting our air. The bottom line is the air moves. It travels. When someone smokes a cigarette outdoors, it travels. It goes away. It's not the same thing as smoking a cigarette in a restaurant. It's a ridiculous concept. There is no scientific study whatsoever that shows that if you smoke in open air or in a park or in a beach, that you're going to affect the rights of others. Not one.
It's just simply not true. The
Where
science is clear.
But where's the study?
There's been many studies.
Has anyone done a study where people were in a park or an outdoor area and showed a connection between somebody getting lung disease?
Absolutely.
Where?
Absolutely.
Name the study.
I'm sorry that I'm not going to start naming studies with you, but the fact is that this is going to protect public health. You simply ignore the fact that secondhand smoke is a health concern.
But you're not answering the question. We're talking about a specific proposal right now.
That's right.
You've already covered the restaurants and the indoor spaces.
The same ones that you guys complained about at that point because you said that.
And we're still going to complain about that. And you know what? There needs to be a reversal of these policies. We had a perfectly good policy in place where Peter Vallone put that in place that created smoking sections in restaurants. And what you've done to the cigar smoker is just unconscionable. Unconscionable premium cigars.
Where does it, to bring up the point, because you raised the air travels, where does it then stop? If you ban on parks, in parks, you ban on beaches, is it eventually going to be you're not allowed to smoke on streets? Is that going to be the next front that's the war that's waged?
The fact is that we need to protect the public, we need to protect our kids from secondhand smoke. This proposal does that. We know that reducing secondhand smoke exposure is going to reduce asthma attacks, it's going to reduce heart attacks, and there's no reason, you're saying it's unconscionable. This is a public health.
You don't need to protect anyone. You really don't need to protect anyone. Keep the government out of our lives.
Who's going to protect the
and what is
asthma?
Is it going to be the Lung Association that spends almost all its money on salaries and assets? What does the Lung Association do for the prevention, treatment, and curing of lung disease? I'd like to know what it does.
We do cutting-edge research. We have programs to help people quit. You can go to our website at alany.org.
It's an attack on, the only thing that you have to show is an attack on tobacco. And all you've done is close up businesses in New York State. You haven't stopped one person from smoking. They're all getting it from New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Indian reservations.
That's simply untrue. You know that smoking has gone down. For years, you guys put these scare tactics out there that we're going to close businesses.
You pushed the tax. You guys pushed the tax, the last tax increase, the $1.50 tax increase in New York State. What happened? I guess overnight, 33% of people stopped smoking.
So you don't buy any of these statistics?
No. I mean, do you believe that after we raised cigarette prices by $1.50 a pack, that 33% of the people stopped smoking? Of course not. You could buy it $50 cheaper a carton in New Jersey. You could buy it even cheaper in Pennsylvania, and you could still buy it from Indian reservations.
Just to get back to another point you made about how government shouldn't have a role in this, but shouldn't government have a role, considering that people who get sick from smoking, people who get sick from secondhand smoke, eventually end up in the hospital? Your taxpayers are paying, tax dollars are paying for it. My tax dollars are paying for it.
First of all, I don't buy into that presumption that you just made. There is no proof whatsoever that secondhand smoke in a park or an outdoor area affects anyone.
Well, isn't this also about trying to stop people who are smoking from smoking?
This is about an unprecedented government attack on small business. We're seeing it in every, it's not just tobacco either, by the way. This government today, in this day and age, whether on the city level or on the state level, we are seeing an unprecedented attack on small businesses. All we're doing is—
Isn't it an attack on tobacco?
An attack on tobacco?
Rather than attack on, I mean, shouldn't these businesses, if people aren't buying tobacco or tobacco is being made harder to buy, why not sell something else?
My clients are generation old. Some of the stores were created in the early 1900s. It's about Main Street, USA. These are some of the finest establishments in small towns throughout the state of New York and in the city of New York. These are wonderful places where people can go to make an adult choice and smoke. They don't need you to regulate their lives.
But what they do need is to realize that their decision to put toxics in their lungs is going to affect the people around them, and who's protecting them?
How the decision to put toxins in their lungs?
Their own lungs. The smoker.
First of all, you need to distinguish between cigar smokers, where 92% of them don't inhale, and where does that
smoke go?
It goes up in the
air. And when it goes out, and no one breathes it in, huh?
Nobody breathes it in. No one breathes it in. In a park or a beach, nobody's breathing that in.
I think all of us know that when
the government, this is an unprecedented attack on personal freedoms and the rights of smokers.
But this type of ban, though, has happened in other cities, I believe. Cities in California.
Governor Schwartz.
There is not a statewide ban, but there are cities. Los Angeles, I believe, has certain bans on parks and beaches.
And it doesn't make it right. And of course, you're naming 30 counties. The overwhelming majority of counties don't have this ban.
That's not true.
That's neither here.
Where is this now, and how has it worked?
There's counties across New York State that have implemented smoke-free parks and smoke-free beaches, where the public can go out, enjoy the fresh air without breathing in toxic secondhand smoke. And it's working, and it self-polices. There's signs.
What statistics do you have that show it's working?
Well, we know it. You talk. I mean, you talk to anyone.
He doesn't have one statistic.
You don't need statistics.
It's all your assumption.
Well, I guess how do you gauge whether it's working or not?
Talk to the public. Go out and
talk to the public. I'll bring all my clients here right now, and all their customers, thousands of them, whose lives are being adversely affected by these decisions, which, yes, to your credit, your organization and other organizations like yours spend all your money trying to influence the government to make these cockamamie rules which don't make any sense whatsoever in the normal lives of human beings.
Quick response, and then we have to go to a break.
Smoking rates have plummeted since we've implemented comprehensive tobacco-free laws. Makes sense.
Check New Jersey and Pennsylvania. You've driven all the business to New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Connecticut.
Of course you have. I'll get you to finish your response. We have to just take a quick break, but I'll have you finish your response when we return. We'll have more with our debate in just a moment, and then later I'll tell you how you can comment on tonight's program. Stay with us.